Be advised, the digital graveyard contains the following: adult language, bad advice, and spoilers. There will be no further warnings. Consider yourself disclaimed.
Digital Graveyard, the answer to the timeless question, what if two guys pushing their 30s sat alone in a room and talked about nerd things? I'm Eric Graves.
And I'm Bobby Digital, and today is August 2nd. We are recording. And, how have you been, Eric?
I've been fine, yeah. It's the first week, the first show of the first week of August, we'll say, because it'll probably, the time of recording, we're doing this on a Sunday, when we usually do. And we'll probably be done with the editing by... The last two have been uploaded on Wednesdays. We'll try and get a consistent release date for these episodes, but right now it's only the third one, so we're still trying to figure that out. But so far, like Wednesday or Tuesday, I think. But yeah, first week of August. Lots to talk about today. Lots of stuff going on.
Yep, we have the Emmy nominations came out, as well as a bunch of movie and video game and TV announcements. But... before any of that, what have you been watching? What have you been doing?
There's some pleasantries. In the last week, man, there's been some good stuff coming to Netflix, obviously. I don't have cable anymore. Neither of us do, right?
No one does.
But so I watched Coco again for the 8th time, and I, get this, Bobby, I didn't cry.
This time,
yeah. It's the first time it's happened.
Yeah.
It's after 8 times, and you finally stop crying.
The first time I saw that movie, I saw it with my niece, and at the time she was
We were living together, and you told me when you came out, you were like, you need to watch this movie.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I saw it with my niece, and she was like 3 or 4, and you know, like, kids that age don't understand the concept of, like, death and everything.
Yeah.
But, like, once it got towards that ending part, like, she was, like, standing up, like, crying, like, Grandma Coco, remember?
Oh my God! No,
remember Grandma Coco?
And I'm not knocking Frozen. Frozen's a fine movie, but when you think about spoilers, the character turn of what's his name, Hans. The guy who he's the villain, but he was like a good guy at the beginning.
Sure.
And there's literally no indication that he's been plotting anything. You have no. It doesn't. It feels like such a turn at that point, right?
Right. It seems so out of character for him to suddenly be a bad guy.
Coco does that so much better than it handles that in such a way where when you finally do see the turn, you're like, oh my God, he was always the bad guy, and we just didn't realize it. You know, like
right.
it was there all along. Coco does a lot of really interesting things, like when you study that movie from the beginning, the antagonist is, for the first half of that movie, his family. And then that changes at the end when like family proves they just have his best interest in heart. They're trying to make him stop his dream. They seem like they're the bad guys, and you and the audience respond to that. Yeah, it might be my favorite Pixar movie.
Oh,
honestly.
yeah.
What about you? I showed you one. What about you? But no, well, what have you been
Oh.
watching? But yeah, what's your favorite Pixar movie? We can do that too.
Well, okay, my favorite Pixar movie is probably Inside Out. Pretty much the same deal of like a super relatable, like character in Riley, and her scenario is relatable.
And there's no villain or adversary. Like you've got her parents, but they're going through their own emotional problems.
Yeah.
And then you have the other emotions in Riley's head, like anger, fear, and disgust, and they're just trying to have Riley function, but they can't do it because they're not joy and they're not sadness. They can't fill in for that, and that causes problems. So the conflict is just miscommunication almost, and Inside Out's amazing too. You're absolutely right. Those are my top two. I'll say it. Those are my top two Pixar movies.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, anyone can make an argument for literally any Pixar movie.
Oh, nope. The Incredibles. Both of them. The Incredibles is great too.
Yeah. But yeah, like anyone can make an argument for pretty much anyone, like to be their favorite or the best.
Oh no, Onward. Onward's great too. Onward's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
they're all pretty good when you boil them down. But there's definitely, we could next week. Let's get a list of our top 5 Pixar movies, and then we can make that the episode.
All right, sounds good.
So what else have you been watching though?
Well, since we're talking about Disney, on Disney Plus, they did just release the first episode of that Muppets Now.
Oh, I saw that. I watched that too. It's like Zoom calls with the Muppets.
Yeah.
Like the Muppet Show, but for Zoom.
You seem excited.
I just like Muppets, man. We both love the Muppets.
I love the Muppets, and I hated this show.
Oh, really? Well, go ahead, Bobby. No, this is some conflict that we haven't really had on the show so far. I liked it, and you didn't. Let's elaborate that.
Okay. Well, first of all, I didn't finish the episode. I stopped like right after the Swedish chef segment.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Like the number one thing I really didn't like was Kermit. Like he doesn't sound right.
Oh, well, Jim Henson's been dead for like 30 years.
Right. But like it's been the same actor playing him since like I think The Christmas Carol.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Since then it's been the same guy, but they decided this is their first time replacing him.
So this is the first new voice actor we've had for Kermit they're almost 30 years.
Yeah.
Wow. That is that is like when Jim Cummings replaced Pete in the Mickey Mouse cartoons.
It's super noticeable, yeah.
And now we know Jim Cummings is the voice of Pete, but the guy before that, I think it was like Billy Bliss or something like that. Like he was a very famous voice actor. And that's when he went, Pete went from being like this to being like this, and it is a big noticeable change. Or because I think Jim Cummings does Winnie the Pooh now too, but he didn't originally either.
Right, but I think he's been doing Pooh for longer than he's been doing Pete.
I think you're right. But yes, it's a bad example because Jim Cummings is the most amazing voice actor in history, and I will die by that.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, so it is a change like that is kind of like a new lead singer in a band. You know, it's like it's the Sammy Hagar Kermit.
Everyone else sounded more or less right, but no, just the humor wasn't landing for me.
And the humor hasn't landed for me for the Muppets for a while, because even the Muppet movie wasn't laugh out loud funny. It was good. It was funny, but
the one where they introduced Walter, right?
Yeah, it was more about like. It was like an inspirational kind of like story, more than it was a comedy. You know what I mean?
Well, and like the Muppets in that movie are more the B players.
Yeah.
Like they're not the main characters. But it's Walter and his brother.
Yeah, exactly. And the second one didn't really land because that was just the Muppets being funny, right? It was just another classic Muppet caper.
Oh, and I believe in that movie, the one that plays that evil Kermit, like he's the now Kermit.
Oh,
like
weird.
That actor. So like it's this whole like. So the guy who was being fake Kermit is now the real Kermit, and that's so.
Yeah, that's you're right. I'm not sure how to feel about that.
Right.
Like that Muppet Show spinoff that ABC tried to do, just the laughs didn't land on that show either, and I don't think it's.
But I did like that one more because like I feel like that one did a lot of what I kind of liked about the Muppets was that whole like they had a life.
Yeah,
like going on at all times.
I like that too, and it's tough to convey that in this format that Disney Plus has tried to do with these like Zoom call videos.
And maybe the Zoom call thing is a little like cheaper and easier to produce.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Maybe that's why they want to go with it.
Well, and it's interesting too because I'm a huge Dark Crystal fan, and we will bring up that because Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance got nominated for an Emmy. But I was reading an interview with Lisa Henson, who's the head of the studio now. I don't know how her brother was the head for a while. I don't know if he's retired or if he's just splitting the duties now or whatever. But Lisa Henson was in charge of Dark Crystal. So I was reading this interview with her, and she said like. The Dark Crystal hasn't been renewed for a second season, but even if it was, we would have to wait until after COVID because making a puppet production of that scale would require so many people to be in such close quarters. It would just not be possible with California's current COVID restrictions,
right. I mean, it makes sense. Some of those puppets require like 3 to 5 people to operate.
Exactly, but when you look at like the Muppets in Sesame Street, you can do that with 2 people and a green screen. I gotta think that this Zoom call format makes that is the best way to film those kinds of sketches without any more elaborate kind of performances like the old Muppet Show days or that ABC Muppet Show reboot would have to require.
Right,
know?
Because like I'm just thinking of like the skit with like Tay Diggs that required like 3 people to be close together. Yeah,
or like the RuPaul thing. You have one puppet operating Kermit sitting at a table and another puppet just near RuPaul, and that's it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it must be a much easier. Dude, Bobby, you didn't like that. Oh, did you make it to the RuPaul interview?
I did, yeah.
How did you not like that one? I was dying. I loved it.
That one was fine. I didn't like the faux photo bomber? Or
The photometer.
yeah, the photometer.
The photometer.
I didn't like that.
I thought it was funny. I liked it.
It was a neat setup, but then it went too long, and then
It did go a little. You're right.
and I didn't care for Piggy, like her whole deal.
Yeah, I kind of skipped over her.
No one
her
likes
thing.
Piggy. Like,
she's mean to Kermit.
she's
man.
no one's favorite Muppet.
It's we're hitting the hard. Somebody had to say it. With the hard truths right now. Who really likes Miss Piggy?
No, no one. But she is essential.
Yeah, and Gonzo was not nearly in it enough.
No,
because Gonzo's everybody's favorite. But yeah, so you watched the first episode of the Muppets. Anything else that you've been checking out? Because we're past the 10-minute mark. I had one more that I wanted to talk about. Well, two, but I'll keep it really quick.
Nothing new. I've been binge watching Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, so have I. I started rewatching it.
Oh, it's my first time watching it.
Oh yeah, like I watched it. I watched the dub. It might have been the sub. It might have been the last time I watched a subbed anime of that length. And I didn't finish it, but I made it all the way to the last season. And now I'm rewatching it, and I've just totally forgotten everything. But like, you know how you just kind of remember little details.
Sure.
Yeah, it's the dub is good. But we can talk more about that later. I started watching the new season of The Umbrella Academy.
Okay.
I have lots of thoughts about that, but we can save that for another time. And
Yeah, because I want to watch that.
I finished watching I think it's only like 6 episodes of the new Transformers anime that they got on Netflix.
That's on my queue. I gotta watch both those.
It's Bobby, you're not gonna be disappointed. It might be the best Transformers series. And you know, I'm not a huge Transformers fan. I was as much as any child was, any feeling child born in America. Any red-blooded American child loves Transformers to a degree.
Yeah.
But
like for us, it was like Beast Wars, and then that anime later.
Yeah, they had plenty. They had plenty of Transformers titles that were on TV when we were kids. And I have watched the originals in its entirety. But this is the first time I've been like, God damn, dude. Oh, and I did start watching Clone Wars. I did it, America. You're welcome. I watched the first couple episodes. It's just okay so far. But back to Transformers. This is the first time they've really explored the motives of the Decepticons.
Right.
Bobby, why do the Decepticons hate the Autobots?
I thought it was that like the Autobots had like the Allspark or something like that.
Yeah, you thought something like that. In the original series, the Decepticons are just the new model of Transformers that decide that they're better and they decide to take over the planet. Like, it's the motives of the Decepticons has always been they're just bad dudes. You know, there's something bad. But this is the first time that something I've been really compelled by the narrative of the Decepticons. They've given them that much of a backstory. Basically, the Decepticons and the Autobots were created by the same creator, Alpha Trion or whatever his name is. The Autobots were like the free citizens of Cybertron, and they were just handled like the day-to-day things there. Decepticons were laborers. They were harvesting energon harvesters. That was like their purpose, and they rose up against them.
That does explain the like Constructicons.
Yeah, exactly.
Like why they're one of them.
And why so many of the Decepticons can fly, can transport, stuff like that. Why there's so many more military vehicles in the Decepticons, because maybe the Cybertron mines are very, very dangerous. You know what I mean? So basically, like a long, long time ago, there was an uprising of the Decepticons, and the Autobots helped them do that to get their freedom. But once they got their freedom, now it's like Cybertron needs order. We were the oppressed by this tyrannical hierarchy. Now we think we can be better tyrannical leaders. You know what I mean? So it's the first time I've been like, oh my God, this should have been it all the time. Like, now you feel for the Decepticons. Like, their actions aren't justified, but you understand why they've been pushed to this point. And the Autobots are now the rebels against this fascistic military regime. It's a military coup. Okay. So yeah, definitely check out the new Transformers.
I do have to ask the important question. Does Megatron still turn into a gun?
No, they went with Tank Megatron.
Good.
They definitely
went with... That makes
with,
sense for him.
Yeah, they definitely went with his original design. With just the straight angular flat surfaces
and then he's
design.
Just got the
giant
barrel
cannon on his arm.
Yeah.
But he's a tank. And it's all the versions of the vehicles they transform into is all great because they're not on Earth, so they're still, you can still tell what they're supposed to be, but they're designed like space versions of it, you know?
Right, like it's close to a jet, but it's not a jet.
Yeah, so I can't recommend it enough. I finished it yesterday, and it's check out the new.
You said it's only 6 episodes?
Yeah, it's the first part. It definitely leaves off with that. I mean, I don't want to spoil it. I know the show does spoilers, but it leaves off with clearly they're going to do more Transformery action later on, like that Godzilla anime that they had. You know what I mean? Where it's like 3 episodes, and then stay tuned for a month for the next half of it. But yeah, let's get moving because we're already past the 15-minute mark.
Okay.
But we don't have a ton to talk about, but there is some really cool news that happened this last week.
Sure. Okay, so let's start with Pixar since we've talked about Disney quite a bit.
Makes sense.
It was leaked online that the next Pixar movie was going to be called Luca, and then Disney was just like, well, we'll just announce it. Luca is the name of our next movie. It's coming out next year, June 2021.
I think I heard the name, and I think I saw a picture.
Yep, there's one image out, and it's of like, it takes place in Greece.
Oh.
Like, the Italian Riviera specifically.
Yeah, that makes sense. Luca is like a romance name from like Southern Europe. So yeah.
But yeah, the one image that's been shared around is like these 2 boys jumping off of like a cliff into like that crystal blue water that that place is like known for.
Yeah, the cliffs.
Yeah.
Very famous Italian Grecian cliffs.
Yep. It says this.
I'm worldly.
A quote from Enrico Casarosa, who's the director of the film.
Very Greek name.
Right? He says, "This is a deeply personal story for me, not only because it is set on the Italian Riviera where I grew up."
Italian, that's what I meant. Very Italian name.
Yeah, where I grew up, but because at the core of the film, it's a celebration of friendship, childhood friendships.
Okay, so it's a Pixar movie. Cool.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and it's nice. Like, it's about like 2 kids like being best friends.
And
like,
is it set in modern times, or is it set like when the director was a child, like during that period?
It actually doesn't say much more than that.
Can you any hints in the photo they released?
Like I said, the photo is just like these 2, I believe, young boys. I can't even tell if they're boys jumping off a cliff into the crystal blue water.
Or were they pushed off that cliff?
No, they have smiles.
Intrigue. Suicide pact.
But
jumped off the cliff together.
At the very least, this is going to be one of the prettier Pixar movies.
Okay.
Like, I think so.
So the story might not be the focus, which is why they haven't released too many details about that. Or maybe they're just saving it. But right now, we just have speculation. That's all we do.
Right,
we
they were just like,
setting.
well, someone leaked it, so we'll just say, like,
that
it's
makes
happening.
Sense. Like, so it's real. So the real reason we're talking about this right now is because Disney just wanted to get in front of the leak.
Right.
They wanted to give us no more information than they absolutely had to. But okay, so I mean, Pixar movies where the art style is the focus are not necessarily going to be bad. Like, I mean, Inside Out was definitely one of those.
Well, and pretty much every single one of their Pixar movies, to a point, were all about them testing out a new type of technology.
Yeah, usually that's the case, and they can really do some interesting stuff, especially like when you look at their short films, which are always look so very different. You know
like
what I mean?
they made Monsters Inc. because they mastered fur technology.
Yeah, which I mean, even fur is very difficult to animate. So when you go back and look at that, like it's definitely early. I think it's Maya's animation tool they use.
Sure.
That's what everybody uses. But yeah, like I saw when King Kong came out, like how expensive King Kong's fur was to render. You know, so that makes sense.
And they even shelved the first Incredibles for a long time because they couldn't figure out how to do Violet's hair.
Yeah, this stuff it's difficult. You don't really think about that. Animation is so interesting. I'm an adult and I watch animation, god damn it, because it's fascinating to me. Like this stuff, like the background stuff in it. So okay, so Luca, next Pixar movie. We got the title, we got the setting. We don't even have all of the setting, and we've got the director.
Yeah,
and that's all we know so far. I feel like we will mention it again before too long, but let's keep rolling. Anything else you wanted to talk about?
Sure.
We got plenty of time.
So, you've been playing the Spider-Man game, haven't you?
I have. I definitely took a break because, like I said, I'm moving. But I think I'm about halfway to maybe 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah.
Haven't played any of the additional content.
I've completed it and I'm done all but like one of the DLCs, but
Yeah.
But as you know, the PS5 is going to launch with the Miles Morales game.
Yeah, and I think I read the announcement, but go ahead.
Yeah, so apparently they're going to do a remaster of the original Spider-Man to be released with the Miles Morales game.
Okay.
Now, that had a lot of people being like, okay, so is the Miles Morales game just like not even a full game?
That is a good question.
Is it just a little expansion piece? But Sony's come out and said, like, no, it is still its own standalone game. We just also have the ability to remaster the first game.
Well,
so why not?
The map has got to be about the same, right? Because it's still New York. It's not like you can add a new area of New York.
Exactly.
You know? So when you think about it, because what's the biggest data suck? I don't know what the industry term for what's the biggest like eater of RAM or whatever for a video game. What space taker? Like what takes the most space? It's got to be like rendering the environments, right? Especially when it's an open world map. Like that's got to be the most heavily processed consumer of space in a video game.
Yeah, and if they're both using like the exact same like you said, the exact same map.
Yeah.
Like, then why not?
When
just
you think
bundle
about it,
all
like
together?
it might not make sense, but the cutscenes and the encounters have got to be some of the simplest programming because the cutscenes are just movies. You don't have to. They don't take up that much processing power because it's just a movie that is happening in this world technically, but the camera is locked, so there's not any input from you.
Again, exclaimer,
Encounters.
we are not experts on anything.
Yeah, not experts at anything. This is just my assumption, just from what I know about the little things that I know about how computers work. And then when you think about like encounters, like okay, well, it's the same programmed enemies. They're just this amount of them, or there's this versions of programs. So. Yeah, I think once you got the map set out, why can't you release 2 full games in one game? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it goes back to like those Final Fantasy games from the PlayStation 2 that were like, 17 hours of story. Like,
Right, so they were on 2 to 4 discs.
yeah, right? So it's just like, adding more story doesn't seem like something that's impossibly difficult, especially with the processing power that we've heard coming out from the PlayStation, right?
Well, and I even think that they just intend to be like, well, you can just buy the Miles Morales, but you can buy this 2-pack as well.
Yeah.
Like they did with Bayonetta. Like
Sure.
when that was brought to the Wii U.
Yeah, sure, I'll take your word for it, I don't know.
Well, yeah, when Bayonetta 2 came out on the Wii U, they decided to bundle it with the first Bayonetta.
Oh, yeah, right on.
Because they were like, well, a lot of people didn't play the first Bayonetta.
Guilty. Haven't played either of them.
I mean, it's Devil May Cry.
It's Devil May Cry, but it's a hot
sexier.
chick. Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
It's Devil May Cry, but sexier.
Yeah.
It's the theme. I did watch the anime. The anime was cool.
Of Devil May Cry?
Both, actually. Devil May Cry and Bayonetta had its own anime.
I didn't know Bayonetta had an anime.
Might have been a movie, not a series.
Sure.
But yeah, I definitely remember watching one. Sure. So when I first heard this, I was wondering, okay, so are they just going to do, is the remaster going to be the original Amazing Spider-Man, but with Miles Morales in all the situations? That they were going to like change the story slightly, like they did for Persona 5 Royale? You know?
Oh, no. From my understanding, it's just straight up going to be porting the game over.
That's cool too, man. I mean,
for some people, like buying the PS5, it might be the first time playing it.
Yeah, no, and
So, like, go for it.
Spider-Man is definitely like a game that I feel looks good enough that it's graphically not going to be enhanced too much by the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
But like if you skipped the PlayStation 4 in favor of Xbox One or whatever, but now you want to go PlayStation 5 for your next console, then yeah, totally, like play Spider-Man. It's good. It's Arkham, but it's so good.
It's the #1 exclusive for the PS4.
For real, like
Yeah.
it's because it's not God of War, it's not any of their other like
Last
Horizon
of Us, Uncharted.
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn, these are niche games for different kinds of gamers. But Spider-Man, everybody loves Spider-Man. Everybody loves superheroes, and everybody loves Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like-
He's my favorite superhero.
Exactly. You gotta say, like, just with all titles and publishers out of the way, Spider-Man and Batman got to be the 2 like top-rated superheroes in the world, right?
Hands down, yeah.
I think Spider-Man's more popular than Superman. I think I can make that claim.
It kind of reminds me of like this is sidetracking a lot, but when Milestone Media, they made like Static Shock and Hardware and Icon and Rocket.
Yeah, I didn't know the name, but cool. Yeah, I definitely know the products they made. Sure.
Right. When they like started their company, they were like, we need 3 archetypes.
Yeah.
And they were like, we need what some people have called the Paragon, the Struggle, and the Naive.
I've never heard this. This is a new concept to me, Bobby. So, okay, the Paragon, the Struggle, and the Naive.
Right. The Paragon being like the Superman type.
Yeah.
Like he's
the perfect man.
Yeah.
He's
holier than thou, and
yeah.
The Struggle, the person that's had hardships, and he uses those to define who he is now.
Like the Batman or the Logan?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the Naive being like
Spider-Man.
Yeah, the younger, idealistic type.
And Static Shock was that.
Yes.
Right? Oh, now that you've laid that out, that makes so much sense.
Right.
Oh, wow. I can't believe I've never heard of that before. This is a great episode already, and we're not even halfway done. But we can keep moving on if you want.
Sure. Let me just real quick. Another thing came out relating to Spider-Man and video
go
games.
ahead.
So, the Marvel Avengers War game that's coming out? Square Enix is making an Avengers game where like you can play as individual Avengers characters in a Destiny-style like gameplay.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't think, I mean, I know that the Avengers game has been talked about for a while. I didn't know if there were any other details, really, because I wasn't...
Oh, yeah, they have tons of trailers out.
It's probably a good idea to explain it anyway, just because if the listeners hadn't heard about it, even if I did.
Well, as of right now, I think they only have like 6 characters confirmed, those being like Iron Man, Captain America, Ms. Marvel, the Hulk, Thor, and Black Widow. And Hawkeye.
So, and Ms. Marvel being the Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel?
Right.
Then I think I did hear a little something about it, yeah.
So something came out of that Sony is having Spider-Man be exclusive only to the PS4 version of that game.
Ooh, that's going to make waves.
Right.
People are going to... So the Xbox has to come swinging. Oh, what if the Xbox got Spawn? They've done it before.
I mean, yeah, but no, I don't think that would happen.
Oh, the partnership with Todd McFarlane.
But it does make sense because not only because these the Spider-Man video game,
and
but
Nintendo gets Yoda.
Oh my god. No, I see. What I would do is have Nintendo have like Rocket Raccoon.
Hey, that'd be cool.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But
it's just Mario in a Tanuki suit.
Right, exactly. Perfect. But
he's got to say at least once, "It's a me, Rocket."
Oh man, no. So they're saying he's going to be exclusive to the PS4 version of the game, and yeah, that's got a lot of people pissed. Right, and rightfully so.
Understandable. No, this kind of stuff always happens. But you know what? I have missed this kind of game development where it was like Xbox gets this, Nintendo gets this, and you know why? Because when I was a kid, I had a PlayStation 2, and what I was referencing earlier was Soul Calibur, which the different versions of the Soul Calibur for the PlayStation, Xbox, and GameCube.
Yeah, Soul Calibur 2, yeah,
with one exclusive character for each. And you know what the benefit of that was? It made me had to go over to my friend with an Xbox house if I wanted to play as Spawn on Soul Calibur. You know what I mean?
Right, and for some people, it gave them a reason to own both versions of the game.
Yeah, some rich kids out there, which I'm sure will still happen out here. But yeah, like I like that there are like that it's not flip a coin, pick Xbox or pick PlayStation. Like no, you it's a choice. Like you should have a choice, and games that are ported over shouldn't just be a copy of that. Like I like that there is exclusive content to consoles, and maybe I am unpopular in that opinion, but I like that there's
a reason to own another system. Yeah.
It not only bolsters like pride, but it also like pride in our consoles, like because we're Sony or die. But it also fosters the debate. You know what I mean? Like going over to your friend's house who plays your Xbox is like, okay, well I'm gonna suck holding this Xbox controller. I'm not gonna be good, but there's a reason for me to be here. I want to check out this content. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like that too. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, and hopefully so that the other versions do get their own exclusive character, just to keep the Battlefield fair.
I like that.
It would suck if PS4 is the only one to get it's like, no, this is the definitive version because you get all that plus this.
Yeah, but then you know what? Even if that is the case, Microsoft fed Bethesda money under the table to prevent the release of Skyrim DLC to the PlayStation for like a whole year. So I'm not that upset about it. if they don't, it's like turnabout's fair play. Screw you guys. Like, I'm still mad about Dawnguard.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So do you want to move on to the Emmys?
Yeah, sure. We're at exactly the halfway point right now at the time of this recording. I don't know how it'll be when I'm edited, but yeah, the Emmys. The Emmy nominations were announced, and streaming services made out huge, but not just that. A lot of and we can be talking about this for a while. This is going to, I think, take up a lot of the show because there's just a lot of categories we can talk about, a lot of sitcoms, a lot of shows like dramas that we've all watched, and one such that I've already mentioned, The Dark Crystal, got nominated for Best Children's Entertainment, and I'm really thrilled about that. I might start with that one if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. What else was nominated for that?
Oh, it was only 3 categories. It's going to take me a minute to get through to find it on the list.
I mean, I'm trying to think of what came out as far as children's media goes, but like off the top of my head, I'm like, well, Steven Universe did really well.
Yeah. So yeah, the Emmys, they got their announcement. I'm still trying to find this. Right now, I'm scrolling through outstanding visual effects. That's the other thing. Looking at this whole list, something that I've suspected for a while. That's it's a lot of these awards are just there so that shows can say that they won an Emmy.
Well, a lot of people have like known that about the Emmys, the Grammys, literally any of those award shows. There's always these awards that are kind of, I don't want to say they're lesser than, but they're definitely not the ones people are paying attention to.
No, and that's 100% has always been the case, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going through structured reality
right,
shows
and in some
now.
cases, they're just there to make sure that we have something to put on the Blu-ray box.
I found it. So, yeah, exactly. Like a sticker you can put on the box for the Blu-ray so they can never not say that they weren't Emmy nominated or won the Emmys. And, Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal, The Age of Resistance is now one of the 3 nominees for Outstanding Children's Programming. And it's my favorite to win. Like, I'm going to be, right now, I'm completely biased. If you haven't watched The Dark Crystal, I've watched it enough times for the both of us.
Would you really say that's like a kid show, though?
You know, I'd say it's TV PG.
Okay.
For sure. But there's no swearing. There's no sex to speak of. And
if there was, it would look like Team America, right?
And all of, yeah, because they're puppets. And all of the violence is most of the violence in that show is relegated to action-packed sword fights, which don't count. And any kind of like death is shown off screen. Like they really did very carefully make it so that things don't really die in grisly ways. So yeah, I'm gonna say children's programming, and I'm gonna say give it to them. That means just do it. Just do it.
Just let them win.
It's so stupid good. And they need to make another season of it. The other nominees were Star Wars Resistance from the Disney Channel, which I haven't watched, but people like that. People like Star Wars Resistance. I know that enough. And then We Are the Dream, The Kids of the Oakland MLK Oratorial Fest, which is an HBO documentary that I haven't seen, so I can't give my opinions of it. But we'll start with that category. What do you think of those 3?
I mean, from the sounds of it, the 2 that I think are fighting for that position are the Star Wars and the Dark Crystal. Like you, I haven't seen that MLK one.
Yeah, so I can't say for sure. So it's tough. But yeah, I'll make it known. I'm rooting for the Dark Crystal. It's great, and you need to watch it. It's super cool. Best drama series has been looking pretty good. Better Call Saul, The Crown, The Handmaid's Tale, Killing Eve, Ozark, Succession, and Stranger Things, and The Mandalorian.
Oh, man, those are all really big names.
All of them are here. Well, this is clearly, when you were talking about the big titles, this is the first of the big titles that they could win, you know?
Yeah, of the ones you listed, I would say either The Mandalorian, although, like, tough to say, because has Star Wars ever really won, like, Best Picture or anything like that?
When was the last time Star Wars had a series? I don't think it's ever been Emmy nominated before. You know what I mean?
Or Emmy nominated, sure, but like
I don't think they win. I mean, best special effects, I'm pretty sure they've won Academy Awards for, or best like costuming.
And probably the first Star Wars definitely won awards. I feel.
Yeah,
but
I feel like what is it, Star Wars: The Force Awakens won something for like sound editing or special effects or something like that.
they probably did.
But yeah, so that's drama series. And yeah, like obviously I would love it if The Mandalorian wins, but I know Ozark's, like I haven't watched a single episode of Ozark, but I know people who have.
And I hear I hear the Handmaid's Tale's great.
But this new season's not. And Ozark's new season, I guess, was like amazing or something like that. So there's a lot. And then Stranger Things. Like, who doesn't love Stranger Things? Like, so that's going to be the one to watch. Best comedy series, Curb Your Enthusiasm, which I thought was over. I didn't know was still going on. Because we don't have HBO, you know. I borrow my friend's HBO account, and that's all how I watch all of these. Dead to Me, The Good Place, The Kaminsky Method, which I've never heard of before, Insecure, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which I've heard really good things about but haven't watched, Schitt's Creek, and What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay, so to me, that's What We Do in the Shadows, Schitt's Creek, and The Good Place are my top three.
I'm right there with you, because those are the only three that I've seen. But
same. But
I could, yeah, those three just from watching them, and if the others on the list are as good as those ones, then it's going to be another bare knuckle boxing match for this one. By which I mean whoever lobbies the most to win the award. Yeah. But
I'm not completely caught up on The Good Place because
it's so good.
Well, The Good Place, it had its last season.
Yeah.
So like I haven't finished it completely,
It's
but I know
so
it gets
good.
like tear jerky.
Well, not just that. I mean, the thing about The Good Place is the first season is one shocking twist at the end, and then that explains the entire season. The next season is like, okay, now we're going. It's always been an incredibly philosophical show. Like it's a philosophy major's comedy. It makes you think, but it's also stupid funny. Like it's got a lot of fart jokes and dumb Florida jokes and stuff like that too. But the last season is okay. What good is an afterlife anyway? Like it gets into these questions like what is actually the point of living forever in a place where it's always perfectly happy and nothing's ever wrong.
Right.
Like and so the last like 3 episodes had me won, and I would have to say that might be my top pick for best comedy series for these Emmys. But What We Do in the Shadows is stupid good. It's so funny, and Schitt's Creek is an amazing show. Amazing. But we can keep moving on because Schitt's Creek got nominated for some other really, really cool ones too. I do want to point out.
Yeah,
just
apparently that's the favorite show like among the Emmy like nominations.
It's great, and and it's a lot of Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, two very talented actors who have had a prolific career that has mostly gone unnoticed by major awards. You know what I mean? But just in case we won't get to it, I will point that Schitt's Creek is also nominated for Best Lead Actor in a Comedy Series and Best Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series in Eugene Levy and his son Dan Levy, respectively, for that. So that's cool too. I really think so. It's also nominated for like best costuming, modern costuming or whatever, which we talked about a little before we opened the mic up. That kind of makes sense. They got a wide range of costumes too. But we'll move on to limited series. Little Fires Everywhere, Mrs. America, Unbelievable, Unorthodox, and Watchmen. I've only watched one of those, and it was Watchmen.
I haven't watched any of those.
Watchmen was super good. So we'll move on from that. Lead actor in a drama, you've got Jason Bateman in Ozarks, Sterling K. Brown in This Is Us, Steve Carell in The Morning Show, Brian Cox Succession, Billy Porter in Pose, and Jeremy Strong in Succession. I don't know any of those.
Like
Jason Bateman in Ozarks. I know he was in Ozark. I didn't know. I haven't watched any of it.
Reba wants me to watch Pose.
Okay.
I'll probably watch Pose.
Lead actress in a drama series, Jennifer Aniston in The Morning Show, Olivia Colman in The Crown, Jodie Comer in Killing Eve, Laura Linney in Ozark, Sandra Oh in Killing Eve, and Zendaya in Euphoria.
Okay.
Haven't watched any of those
Nope,
either.
Me neither. I'll vote Zendaya.
Lead actor in a comedy series. Here we go. Anthony Anderson in Blackish.
Yes.
Which he's been nominated before. I know that, right?
For Blackish? Yeah, it would have to be. I can't think of him being in another
new show. He's been nominated for other Emmys for other shows that he's done. But I know Blackish is not. It's not the first time he's been nominated for a lead actor, or maybe a supporting actor.
Well,
Don Cheadle in Black Monday,
okay,
which I haven't seen either, but I know that he was in a show. Ted Danson in The Good Place.
Okay.
which makes sense. I mean, he's definitely actually the second oldest of these lead actors in comedy series, because Michael Douglas was nominated for the Kominsky Method as well. And there is a habit for a lot of these award shows to kind of give it to the old guy who might
Sure.
not be able to win another one again.
Sure.
So I don't know. Eugene Levy for Schitt's Creek and Rami Youssef for Rami, which I've also heard good things about.
Okay. I feel like with everything that's gone on this year, they're going to give it to Don Cheadle or Anthony Anderson.
Maybe. I mean, it's possible that these award shows do tend to react towards like social issues as well. But I mean, that doesn't mean that they're not worthy of it.
I love Blackish. Like,
I love
think
Anthony
it's great.
Anderson. I've loved Anthony Anderson since he was making stupid kids movies like See Spot Run.
I was going to
love the
say
dude.
the scary movies, and he was in Transformers 1.
Heck yeah, dude! Like he was in all of those. He was in
just
See
eats
Spot
the
Run.
plate of
He was in
cookies and just like,
Kangaroo Jack.
I ate the whole plate.
He was great, dude. When he was Black Chris Farley, and now he's like the new Cosby if we still liked Bill Cosby. Like he's just a darn wholesome family entertainer, and I love him. I love Anthony Anderson, and I wish nothing but good things for him. And Don Cheadle too is great. Like all of those. This is why it's tough, right? All those actors are great. Ted Danson's an American treasure. Eugene Levy was in raunchy lampoonery comedies, and now he's making Schitt's Creek, which is a fantastic show. But we'll move on to lead actress in a comedy series, and then we'll kind of try and wrap this up. Well, let me check what time we got right now. Yeah, we can keep going for a little while. There's a couple more interesting ones too, but I'll do lead actress in a comedy series. Christina Applegate in Dead to Me, which my ex really liked. I didn't watch that. Rachel Brosnahan in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I'm assuming that's the lead actress. The titular character. Linda Cardellini in Dead to Me.
Love her.
Catherine O'Hara in Schitt's Creek. Isa Rae in Insecure. And Tracy Ellis Ross in Blackish.
Okay.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that could literally go to anybody. I know that people are going nuts for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, so I would maybe put my money on that. Catherine O'Hara, again, has a long, prolific career that has mostly gone unnoticed in terms of awards for a very long time. It's certainly.
I'm gonna give it to Linda Cardellini because I just love her.
Yeah, she's pretty great. Oh my gosh. She's all right, and she was in that Muppets show that we were talking about.
She was. Oh my gosh.
Lead actor in a limited series, Jeremy Irons is Ozymandias in Watchmen. Hugh Jackman in Bad Education, Paul Mescal in Normal People, Jeremy Pope in Hollywood, and Mark Ruffalo, and I know this much is true, I've only watched one of those, and so I gotta give it to Jeremy Irons. But I would give it to Jeremy Irons in any category, because he's amazing. He was the voice of Scar in Lion King.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Oh my gosh. And wasn't he one of the bad guys in the Tom and Jerry movie?
You might be right. I mean, he does so much. He used to do so much voice acting.
That
in
was
the 90s.
Tony J.
Tony
My
J.
bad.
He was great too. He was. You're mixing up your Disney villainous large cats because he was Shere Khan, not in the original Jungle Book, but in the straight to VHS sequel, and then ever since then he was the Shere Khan in like Tailspin and in.
But isn't he?
Anything else?
He's passed though, right?
Yeah, he died in like 2010.
Okay.
I think so. Now they must have a new one. But yeah, Tony J was awesome, man. He's the voice of villainy for our child because he was also Megabyte in Reboot.
Oh my gosh, Reboot.
I loved Reboot. Anyway,
Okay. Did they ever reboot? Because I know they wanted to.
no, I don't. Not. Oh no, you know what they did? I watched a little bit of it. It was live action.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, weird, right?
Huh.
I got through the entire first season. It was a Netflix exclusive, and I don't need to watch any more of
I was
it.
gonna say that's a bad idea, but at the same time, no. Like that makes sense.
You're making me rack my brain because I watched it so long ago, but it was the villain is still Megabyte, and it's still the Megabyte from the show Reboot, but they turn on the old Reboot server. I guess Reboot was like an online game, because now that it's like the human world, like we know what Reboot is. It was like an online server. And this server was mainframe, and that's why there were so much damage would happen to it because so many people would be playing games in it, and that's what Bob his program was.
Sure.
Megabyte was a virus that was downloaded from the early internet. So was his sister Hexadecimal.
Hexadecimal.
Yeah, dude, I remember all of the characters, dude.
Oh my God.
I loved Reboot.
Well,
So-
just you saying it's half live action made me think of like how they continued with Code Lyoko.
That was exactly what I was gonna say. It's so much. It's basically the premise is Code Lyoko. Like, they go into the digital world and they have these CGI avatars, and that's half of the show.
Yeah.
And the rest of it's kind of like a Power Rangers, Beetleborgs, VR troopers kind of like teens who've discovered a secret to these power. Like, it's exactly Code Lyoko.
You could have just said Power Rangers. Why are you bringing Beetleborgs and VR troopers into this?
Because in the interest of being fair and balanced, CRTM, I wanted to have some other examples that weren't just the main one that everybody's seen. Because maybe there's one guy who watched Beetleborgs but never watched a single episode of the Power Rangers. I don't know.
Yeah, that one weird guy.
Yeah, that kid. But yeah, so that was the reboot of Reboot, and it was just okay. They did do an episode where they go to Mainframe and they meet Bob, and I know it did have a second season, but I didn't watch it, so maybe it deals with it more than that. But I was not satisfied, needless to say. So that was the first I've thought about it in so long. Yeah, let's see what we're doing for time. We can. How many more you got to talk about? Because there's a couple more categories we could.
I mean, we can go over those categories. The only things I have left aren't like big things.
Okay, so. Yeah, because we're just a little after 45. So we'll talk about this and we can get our because now we're getting into the supporting actors and actresses, and it's interesting what lead actors got nominated from shows, and then what supporting actors got nominated in shows. Maybe you'll see what I mean. So, supporting actor in a drama series, Giancarlo Esposito, who we've mentioned on the show once before, for Better Call Saul, as everybody's favorite villain, Gus. Give it to him. Just give it to him. Give him all the Emmys. Bradley Whitford from The Handmaid's Tale, Billy Crudup from The Morning Show, Mark Duplass, who's very funny. He was on The League, but for The Morning Show, Nicholas Braun from Succession, Kieran Culkin from Succession, Matthew McFadden from Succession, and Jeffrey Wright from Westworld.
Okay.
So you
a
see,
lot of people from that Succession.
Yeah, this is where we're starting to get like a lot of people from the same shows nominated for the same awards. So they're like competing with each other, And I've not seen Succession. I think it's about like a rich family like trying to inherit something, and Kieran Culkin's like the youngest son of his family or something like that. But I think it's HBO, so I haven't watched it. Supporting actress in a drama series: Laura Dern in Big Little Lies, Meryl Streep in Big Little Lies, Helena Bonham Carter in The Crown, Samira Wiley in The Handmaid's Tale, Fiona Shaw in Killing Eve, Julie Garner in Ozarks, Sarah Snook in Succession, and Thandie Newton in Westworld. Not a lot. I haven't seen any of those, so I don't have a lot of opinions on that. Supporting actor in a comedy series. Now, here's where I think we're going to have the most opinions out of all of this, because
all right,
supporting actor Andre Braugher from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
All right, love it.
Love it. You love it, right? He's great. He plays Commissioner Holt. For those who are unaware, he has one of the most prolific careers. Never got big until Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Love Andre Braugher. He's great. William Jackson Harper, Chidi on The Good Place.
Okay.
All right. Alan Arkin, The Kaminsky Method. That's cool. Alan Arkin, again, another legendary actor. He's been around for so long. Sterling K. Brown in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Tony Shalhoub in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Tony Shalhoub, big Emmy winner. Previous Emmy winner. He was Monk, Yeah. Mahershala Ali in Rami.
Okay.
And I actually know the character that he plays in the show, even though I haven't watched it. He plays Rami's a gay Muslim, and he's his imam. I don't know what the priest in Muslim in Islam. I don't know what the official name for it is. Hopefully, I didn't offend anybody. But yeah, he plays his spiritual guy, which is again that's for that's the kind of shit that these award shows eat up. And also, Mahershala Ali is amazing.
Yeah,
and needs to be nominated for more things.
It is just based off of the actors,
right?
I want to go with either Andre Braugher
See,
or...
here's the thing, is this is what I think the best supporting actor character means, is you are not big enough in your career yet to get best lead actor, but this is how people are going to remember your names.
Well,
right?
And I don't even find that to be necessarily true, because he wasn't nominated, but Lawrence Fishburne is on Blackish. He's a way bigger name than Anthony Anderson.
That's true. He totally is.
But he is a supporting character
too. But yeah, and that's at the age that he is. Those are the kinds of it's like Ted Danson in The Good Place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's Yeah, man, let's do something weird. I'm old and I've already made $1 million from Cheers or Matt LeBlanc in Episodes. You know what I mean? It's like I never need to work again in my life because of Friends. Let's just make this weird show. Like, let's do it. Two more: Kenan Thompson on Saturday Night Live and Dan Levy on Schitt's Creek, which I already mentioned. Did you notice that? Well, I'll go into supporting actresses in comedy series. But so yeah, Andre Braugher, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, no lead actors from Brooklyn Nine-Nine were nominated for that.
That would have been Andy Samberg.
Exactly.
Right.
Andy Samberg would really be the only one. Maybe Joe Truglio, but I don't think so. In any case, we'll move on to supporting actresses in comedy series. This is the one. Here we go. Betty Gilpin in Glow.
Okay.
Darcy Carden in The Good Place.
Which one is she?
She's the one that isn't Alison Brie.
Oh, okay.
She's the other one.
All right.
Did you notice that Alison Brie? Did you hear me say Alison Brie when I said best lead actress in a comedy series?
I didn't.
No. Yeah.
Oh.
Alison Brie got snubbed, man. Darcy Carden on The Good Place. Darcy Carden, I think, is the AI.
She's Janet.
She's Janet. Yeah. Did you hear me say Kristen Bell when I said best lead in comedy and an actress?
Nope.
Yeah.
But Tony Danson was for best actor.
Not Tony Danza. He was Ted Danson.
Ted Danson.
He was like Tony Danson, the unholy fusion of the two. Fusion. Hi, Angela. I love it. Oh my gosh! Somebody put it on a T-shirt. Somebody put it on a T-shirt. Tony Danson,
Ted Danson fusion.
the ultimate '80s sitcom leading man. That's perfect. That's so great.
Yeah.
Look at what we just did. It's our third episode, and we've already came up with the next internet sensation, Tony Danson. Yvonne Orji. That can't be how you pronounce her last name. It's Orji. Yvonne Orji from Insecure, Alex Bornstein from The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Maren Hinkle from The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Kate McKinnon from Saturday Night Live, Cecily Strong from Saturday Night Live, and Annie Murphy from Schitt's Creek. So literally all the four principal characters from Schitt's Creek have been nominated for awards, and Alison Brie
is getting some awards.
It's gonna win. It's gonna win an Emmy this year. Statistically, I don't see how it couldn't. But yeah, like Alison Brie didn't get best lead in a comedy series. Kristen Bell didn't get best lead in a comedy series. And I don't know if there's some drama about that, but that's something.
But I also feel like Alison Brie isn't like butthurt about it. Like,
well, sure, her career is still very young. She's just really getting into that point where she had a very successful run on Community.
Well, she's in her mid-30s, isn't she?
Yeah, she's like 33, 34, I think. But yeah, like her husband just directed a horror movie that she's going to be in on Netflix. She's been in a couple of horror movies for Netflix, and she's been in Glow, which is something that's actually getting talked about. Because this isn't the only thing that Glow is nominated for. It's not nominated for any like big shows, but it's a very good show, and it's getting... She can say that she starred and produced in a show that was Emmy nominated. She can say that now. So that's what we kind of what we've been hinting at with all of these award shows really in general is it's networking, and it's the purpose of them is for these actors and directors and shows and channels to be able to kind of get some bragging rights about what they've been doing. So it's not. I don't think Alison Brie's upset about it.
It's kind of like that whole like once you graduate from college, you can just say I have a degree.
Also,
like no one really cares what it's in.
Also, to my point again, so Andy Samberg didn't get nominated for Best Lead Comedy, but Andre Braugher is. Andre Braugher has been in Hollywood for so much longer than Andy Samberg has. And Betty Gilpin, who's just a little bit older than Alison Brie, but she was in Nurse Jackie, and she had a couple of other like minor characters supporting roles in a lot of very successful and long-running sitcoms. She has a prolific acting career. So that could be the motive here too, is like, well, Betty Gilpin probably deserves to at least get nominated for something. So here you go.
But at the same time, like of the characters in Glow, would you really say Alison Brie's character like had the best scenes or anything in the last season?
Yeah, you got it. That's an interesting point as well. Like that. So that
like her character was kind of sidelined, like in the newest season of.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, it really was. It was really about the ensemble this last season.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. Supporting actor in a limited series: Dylan McDermott in Hollywood, Jim Parsons in Hollywood, Titus Burgess from The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yes.
Yeah,
Give him an award.
And then 3 people from Watchmen that I've never heard of before, so I can't say who was who. Supporting actress in a limited series or movie, Holland Taylor in Hollywood, Uzo Aduba in Mrs. America, Margot Martindale in Mrs. America. 3 people from Mrs. America, and Jean Smart from Watchmen, and Toni Collette from Unbelievable. It's probably going to go to Toni Collette. She's the most famous that I've... Oh, Tracy Ullman is in Mrs. America. Yeah, there's reality competitions, variety sketch, variety talk shows, character voiceover performance. Oh, this might be... We probably have some opinions about this.
Sure.
And let's do this, and then animated programming, and then we'll wrap it up and move on to some of the last things that you did, because we got to be... So we got to start wrapping up pretty quick here.
All right.
We've got character voiceover performance. Maya Rudolph as Connie the Hormone Monstress from Big Mouth.
Okay.
Central Park, that new show for Apple TV from the guy who made Bob's Burgers, Lauren. I can't remember his name.
That show does seem interesting because it seems like it's Bob's Burgers, but every episode has a musical number now.
Oh yeah, no, just leaning right into it. That's fine. You do what you do, man. Leslie Odom Jr. as Owen from Central Park. Crank Yankers. Wanda Sykes as Gladys from Crank Yankers.
Oh yeah, Crank Yankers came back.
She got Emmy nominated too. That's crazy.
How?
Right? Taika Waititi as IG-11 in The Mandalorian.
Okay.
Yeah, the bounty droid, dude.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
man.
I haven't watched The Mandalorian.
And then The Simpsons got 2 nominations with Nancy Cartwright and Hank Azaria for, those guys.
Gee, I wonder.
We got animated programming. This one will be interesting too. But what are your thoughts on voice actors, though? Who are you kind of rooting for on that list?
I kind of want Maya Rudolph. I think I like Maya Rudolph, like in everything I've seen
And
her in.
I love Big Mouth, dude. I know that I'm like the only one, but I love Big Mouth.
It would be really interesting if Big Mouth won an award.
Won an Emmy, and not for what's that? Not Fred Armisen. Not for Nick Kroll's Hormone Monster, but for Maya Rudolph's Hormone Monstress. What do you think? The episode that she was nominated for is How to Have an Orgasm. That's right.
All right.
Anyway, we'll move on to Best Animated Programming. Big Mouth. Disclosure, the movie, the musical. So that episode, I don't know if you remember that episode where they do their High School Musical is about a woman who seduces a man to have a sexual relationship with her.
Yep. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob's Burgers, Pig Trouble in Little Tina, which is the one where Tina is dissecting a pig, as I recall. BoJack Horseman, The View from Halfway Down. I do not remember what that episode was. The Simpsons, Thanksgiving of Horror, which it makes sense. And get ready for this, because I have a feeling your opinion's going to change when I name this next one. Rick and Morty, The Vat of Acid episode.
I don't remember that episode.
Oh, dude. Oh, it's...
Okay, yeah. Refresh me on that episode.
The new season of Rick and Morty, the thing that everybody's... Do you want to end the episode just talking about Rick and Morty? Because I feel like we don't have a ton of time left. I know you had more stuff you wanted to get to.
Yeah, no. We can skip my stuff. So, Rick and Morty.
So... Spoilers. Here's the thing about the second half of the new season of Rick and Morty, which just came out a couple of months ago. It just concluded. So the first half of this season was all like, oh, it's Rick and Morty. Look at these wacky adventures. Rick's a functioning alcoholic and he's depressed, and Morty's a horny teenager. Nothing like new. And then the second half, I don't know what drugs Dan Harmon's been taking. Like, it just gets so... It's the philosophical nihilistic humor that made Community spectacular. It's Dan Harmon's style, right? Like his overthinking the narrative of story, the concept of story, the concept of what an entertaining show could be. Like it's a film student's show. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's still funny, but there's an episode where Rick and Morty fight the concept of narrative. So they have to try and be as unentertaining as they possibly can be to fight this adversary that they're currently facing.
Sure.
And it's revealed at the end that the whole thing was just them on they aren't actually Rick and Morty. They're the Rick and Morty figurines on a Rick and Morty playset.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? It's just like crazy thing. There's one where Rick impregnates a planet.
Yeah, I do know about that one.
Yeah, and then it turns out that the planet's actually baby daddy was a god. So Rick ends up fighting a god.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of it's a lot of statements about utilitarianism and the purpose of creativity in a functioning society. And there's so many. It just gets so wild and off the rails. The vat of acid episode is one that people talk about because it starts with Rick and Morty. Rick plants a fake vat of acid in case a deal that he has goes wrong, and it does. So they jump into the fake vat of acid, and they have to spend a couple minutes down there trying to make because the mobsters are like, I don't know, that might not be a real vat of acid. Somebody throw something in there. It's like, hey, here's a rat. It's like, and then Rick opens up a compartment with human bones. He's like, whoa, look at how many bones were in that rat. It seems like, how many bones are in the average rat? I don't know. Go Google it on your phones while me and this guy have a kind of a conversation about our feelings. And like, so it goes, and so Rick and Morty gets really upset that it took so long for them to hide in this vat of acid. He's like, why don't you just invent a button that will save your progress, so every time you die, you'll just go back to it. And Rick thinks that's a stupid idea, but he does it for Morty anyway, because Morty like challenges him to doing it. So the rest of the episode is not actually about a vat of acid. It's about the concept of in a life where you don't have to live with any consequences, where you can literally save your progress. Like if that girl you said the wrong pickup line to that girl, I guess I'll just kill myself and then go back and start over, and then that's what the episode progresses with Morty doing. Spoilers: the end of the episode reveals that it wasn't actually like a time save device. It was a device that transports Morty's self-consciousness to another Morty in another dimension. So every single Morty, like every time he dies or every time he kills himself, that's a Morty that he kills. The Morty from his timeline just continues to. And at the end, Rick makes Morty face the consequences of all of his actions when they all merge together into one timeline. The only way out is for Morty to pretend that he drowned in a vat of acid that Rick had prepared. So it's the whole thing was just an episode, an exercise in why Rick's idea wasn't stupid in the first place. That's the sociopathic lengths that Rick will go to, but it's also a statement on the why things matter, the statement of like narrative, the statement of living without consequences, the statement of like, okay, so what happens when it turns out that these Mortys actually did have to die, the worlds that they existed, and it's this big philosophical clusterfuck of an episode, and it's gonna win the Grammy, it's gonna win the Emmy, it's gonna, like, just because it's the most hyped episode of the one of the most hyped animated shows that exists right now, but also just because that's the kind of shit. I mean, these other ones might, The Simpsons.
And
obviously.
What are you watching Rick and Morty on right now? Because like,
I just watched it a week after on Adult Swim, but I think all the episodes are free to watch on AdultSwim.com.
Okay, because I'll have to check it out through that. Because like that's kind of just been my problem with all these shows that are still on TV. I just like, how am I gonna watch it?
Yeah, well, we're moving past an hour here, so we can start wrapping things up if you want to do a quick fire, like really quick. But before I go, I do want to say that short form animated programs, Robot Chicken Santa is Dead, Steven Universe Fragments, and Forky Asks a Question, What is Love? And I only bring that up because you made me watch Forky Asks a Question, What is Love? And it's adorable, but also it featured a lot of very legendary,
Cheryl Burnett.
Yeah, legendary comedians in that brief series. So I guarantee you that one that's gonna get it. That's gonna get that Emmy for that. Anyway, so we'll wrap it up because we're a little bit over time.
All right,
let's get going. Fire 'em at me, man.
I just got 5 quick things here. Kevin Smith is now making a Green Hornet TV show.
Kevin Smith would.
Okay.
That's not a joke. That makes perfect sense. Absolutely would Kevin Smith make a Green Hornet TV show.
All right. Netflix is looking to make a Splinter Cell game for its next big video game adaptation.
Give us more money. That's what I think that was what the pitch was for that.
Yep.
It'll be fine. I mean, that'll be okay.
Yep. Netflix is starting a Shark Boy and Lava Girl movie.
Stop the goddamn presses.
Yeah,
Shark Boy and Lava, the movie that everybody wanted coming back in. Shark Boy is Robert Rodriguez involved in any way?
Yes.
Okay.
He is set to direct, and we also got Taylor Lautner back as Shark Boy.
Yeah, because what's he doing?
Yeah, exactly. And whatever the name of the actress was.
Yeah, that's right.
Just whatever her name was.
Oh, boy. That is, we're making fun because how can you not make fun of Shark Boy and Lava Girl? It's the most ridiculous thing that's ever happened. But you know what? Yeah, bring it back.
Yeah.
Dude, I am not upset that they're bringing it back. Go right ahead and do it.
Yeah, it is another show starring their child.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Apparently they get together at the end.
Lava Shark.
Yeah. Right. And the last thing I have here is a new graphic novel of The Last Airbender starring Toph.
Oh, cool. So is it gonna be canon?
Yep. It's going to be what happened like after The Last Airbender and before Korra.
I know I'm supposed to like make jokes to these news stories, but that's just cool. Like I'm excited to read that.
Oh yeah, I want to see who her daughter's kids are, or who her daughter's dad is.
Yeah. Maybe it's Jet from the Earth Nation.
He was dead, isn't he?
Is he? I know he got brainwashed.
I thought he died in Last Airbender, but
we can speculate the mortality of minor characters from The Last Airbender in the next exciting episode because we gotta call it here. It's the Digital Graveyard. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube. Like, follow, and share. Share the hell out of this on Facebook. Word of mouth, guys. If you like what you hear here today and in the future, you tell your friends, and you tell them that they're not your real friends if they don't start listening as well. We're also on SoundCloud if you want to follow us there. We're looking into getting Spotify. We're looking into getting a lot of other streams, by which I mean I am. But it's complicated, man. It's tough. As always, swipe right on Tinder. We're very
follow
lonely.
us on Twitter.
And follow us on Twitter. Give us all the tweets. Big thank you to my coworker Woody for doing our disclaimer, our new disclaimer. Did you hear it?
Yeah, I've heard it.
How good is it?
Oh my gosh, it's great.
He did a great job because you know why? Because his voice sounds nothing like ours. And and thank you once again to John Wheeler and Sam Dunn. They let us use our theme song. Big thanks to all those guys. Give them all the love in the world, and we will come up with an outro statement one of these days. In the meantime, see ya.